Setting up UV layouts in CLO for Substance Painter, Blender, or Unreal Engine should be a no-brainer, right? And it probably is if you're a 3D artist. But for me as a fashion designer, I understood the principles, and still I always found it an annoying final step I wanted to avoid because I was not sure if I'm allowed to use one UV tile or more, and how I'm splitting my materials in the coordinate system. So in today's video, I show you how I set my garment materials, how to use the new Extend UV option in the property editor, my UV window settings, and how I'm exporting my files to Substance Painter and Unreal Engine using the Live Sync tool. Okay, if you are a digital fashion designer, 3D artist, or just interested in digital workflows for like CLO3D and Unreal Engine as well as Substance Painter, hit the follow button, subscribe to my channel. This is a big help and support if you do this. All right, let's jump into CLO and start. We're starting in CLO version 2025.0 or higher to ensure that you have the latest updates enabled. And I'm using a MetaHuman avatar, which does not matter. You can also use CLO avatar. And I have here two garments, which I downloaded from CLO Set. I prepped them already a bit. So what I'm mainly doing when I work with garments is that I set all my pattern pieces from one garment to a bundle. So as you see here, all parts of my leather jackets are here and all parts of my dress are here. And then I also deleted additional materials which I thought it's not necessary. If you need material properties from something like a waistband which is more stiff or for bindings, then you would need to like add an additional material. But for me, it's fine. It's working if I just use one material. So my dress has one material and my jacket has another material. I also have a quick look on the direction of my pattern pieces. I want to arrange them all in the same kind of like grain direction. That means if something is laying like this or even this, it would have like a different direction later when I place my textures on it. Especially like the UV layout I will grab from is exactly as in my 2D window. Also for the settings of the garment, here I can switch between like thick texture or like textured surface. So I can just quickly check if my normals are okay and not a B-side is like showing up to the outside. So this works. And by the way, the hemline should be here a bit like shorter than here, but I will not correct it now. So I can switch between both modes and I keep thick texture surface selected for now. I usually also check that kind of like some values are here correct. So particle distance I changed to 5 when I finished like all the other settings of my garment and arranged it. Shrinkage, weft and warp I keep at 100, that's also important. If it's a value over like 10% mismatch, then probably your textures later will get stretched and could be obvious. Something in a range of plus minus 10 is always okay, especially if you use like waistbands and want to shrink them a bit, then it's not a problem at all. I keep always thick texture at thickness collision at 2.5, and I think these are the default settings by now from CLO, and I'm not changing them now. I will do it once I'm working in the UV editor. And by the way, if something is here signed in red, it means that some pattern pieces are assigned to different values than the other, and that's absolutely okay. You don't have to like change everything to the same value. So for example, if I want to say like this particle distance can also be on like a lower value, like 3. And now I'm selecting all my pattern pieces. You see this is like turned red, and this is not a problem for me at all. Okay, how to get to the UV editor. It changed for version 2025 in CLO. Before it was like here switching between the modis, but now it's like here on this tab. So I go to Materials, UV, and then I have the UV editor. Now here on the right side, it's opening, and I have the option now to switch between both tabs here. So I can easily switch between UV editor and 2D pattern window. If by any accident I closed my 2D, my UV editor, I can open it again here. And what's often happening if you open pattern pieces you worked on, that they're kind of like really messed up. It can be that some pieces are smaller than others. So here, for example, you see the sleeves not like in the same size. Here I have like some parts turned and they also kind of like stuck on top, and I don't want to start to kind of like clean this up like I would do in a manual way. The easiest way to get them same arranged as in your 2D pattern window is by right mouse click and reset UVs to 2D arrangement. And that's why I also lay my pattern pieces already kind of like in blocks as I would use them for the UV editor. Now it's much easier to arrange them. I still have like here my trimmings, which kind of like in the center of everything, and if I start to arrange the UVs it can be annoying. So I'm just like selecting them and move them to the side. And also I want to place my UVs here in this kind of like row from 0 to, let's say, however many materials you have. So I select this one and put it here. So when we're in the UV editor, we have here several options where we can select from. The main part I want to talk about is auto UV placement. So there a window is opening, and I also open this move UV window because we need both. And then there's also the option for baking and making a snapshot of your UV tiles, which I will explain at the end. So for UV packing, if I would select now nothing, CLO would automatically place all my pattern pieces in one UV tile. That's actually not what I want, so I'm just like going one step back with Ctrl Z. I want to set up for each material slot one UV tile. So first I'm selecting my dress, and then I go here to the UV packing options, and the first one is padding, and it's set by default to 0.001, which I think is kind of millimeter. And depending on how big your edges are of your garment, so for example, if you added thickness to your garment and you want to extend the thickness, then it's good also to keep a padding in like higher range. So for example, if I have like a thickness added to my garments, it can even be like helpful to have a padding of like 0.03. In our case, I use now this one first, and then I will show the difference. Then there's the fidelity, and I think this is kind of like how precise CLO is automating the UV setup. So if you have a lower value, it's running way faster. If you have a higher value, it's slowing down your PC. And in my case, it's not slowing down at all. I don't have too many pattern pieces, so I just go to fidelity of 5. Then I select the fixed scale ratio that ensures that everything is kind of like in the same direction and also in the same scale for each pattern piece. I don't select the rotation, and I also don't select the advanced placement. Advanced placement can save even more space and make the quality higher of your textures later on. But on the other hand, when I texture in Substance Painter and I have different directions, I need to kind of like place more different layers in my texture window, and that's a bit like annoying, so I avoid this. I want to keep everything in this direction actually. So I select my dress and then I hit apply, and then you see all my pattern pieces are applied, and they even keep a distance in between. I can now move this immediately like to the side, because also for the jacket I select all my pattern pieces and then apply, and I can just like leave it there. I also select my trimmings and then hit apply, and for the trimmings I move them to my third tile. So as said, I could also assign a different material to my dress, saying I want something different here. So I could select these pattern pieces, add the quality, and then I should first add the quality and then assign it here. So now I could decide if I just leave it as it is or if I'm like adding next tile to it. I would sometimes just leave it as it is, because as said, if you add a new material, it also means that you have in Substance a new material slot, which you need to like texture then again. Or in Unreal Engine, it means that you keep like 3 material slots for your full garment. I hope it makes sense what I'm explaining. Also for the jacket, I want to show some examples, like for example, for the waistband and cuffs, I go to the property editor and I'm adding add thickness rendering, value of 3. So this full section is now new in CLO, where in the geometry you can add the thickness, but then also do the extrusion directions. That means I actually selected both sides, which means that you see that it's going in this direction, but also inside of the pattern. So I could also go forward, then it's only extruding to the outside, or backward, and it's just having like inside, like this extra edge, which can also sometimes be nice. Now I selected already that the extrusion is valid for like front, back, and seam, and that's quite important. If you, for example, unselect the back face for this part, I show quickly here, just for the jacket. If I uncheck this, I also don't have a back side, so my material is just single-sided. Therefore, I'm selecting always like back face and even seam face. Then next to it we have the UV expansion, and this is quite important now. So if I'm going back to the UV editor, actually we see that the material is just ending with the edge of the pattern pieces. But if you have extruded pattern pieces, it would also mean that we need to texture like here these parts. And if not, we would just have like a stretching of the texture when we do it in Substance Painter. Therefore, I'm enabling also the side. And when I'm doing this, you see also that there is like an extension here on the UV map. So I select my other pattern pieces and also select side, and then they're all extruded. Now, if there's a case that you have a lining and you want to color it in a different color way than the outside, you could also select like the pattern pieces, for example, here for the top body, and like adding like side and back face. And when we're adding back face, you see immediately that also the inside pattern pieces are showing up, and we have additional pattern pieces which we can use. So in this case, I'm kind of like apply this again with my UV packing, and then I have the new arrangement. We're also getting these boxes around the pattern pieces, especially when we have like the side face. So therefore, it's sometimes good if you like deselect the side face and then apply, and you have a better arrangement, and then like select the side face again, and then you see the boxes are kind of like intersecting. But since we have like used a higher padding value, which is just like 0.01, it still keeps the distance and we don't have overlaps between the pattern pieces. So it's absolutely fine. I can close now my UV packing, also my Move UV tool. I want to quickly show how I'm exporting baked materials directly from CLO. So when we go to map type, we're actually seeing the base color map, but I often also export my normal maps to Substance Painter to use them there, especially like for puckering, but also seam edges. It's giving a good detail when I work in Substance Painter and texturing there. And therefore I select here my bake texture icon. I first need the saving path, so I did this already yesterday. I'm naming it CLO Bake. And I always use like highest value, which is like 8K. And I select all tiles, and I also select only the normal maps because I don't want to export any of the other ones. So if I press save, close baking the textures and saving them in your folder. This is especially good when you exported your garment already, but you want to tweak some changes just on the normal map and you want to export it again. You can do the same step during the export, so then it would not be necessary to do this extra here, but I just wanted to show quickly. So now I set up my UV tiles, which means like for each material slot I used one UV tile. I could also pack like 2 materials in one slot if I'm not losing quality, but in general it does not matter. As long as you not start to like use the same material and like moving it like to a different tile. So for example, if you say you want to get like highest quality out of the dress and like placing these pieces in another section, it could cause issues with other 3D software. Normally this is called UDIM workflow, which means you can achieve highest quality by using more UV tiles as for one material. Mainly how the tiles are working is, you see in our coordinate system, like, which is kind of endless, but if you use like one material for one material slot, you need to imagine that each material slot is kind of like repeating for each tile. So it's a bit complicated to explain, but mainly you don't need to like stack everything on top because it's automatically stacked on top. And especially like for Unreal Engine, it's working quite well. And I don't need to like enable some extra settings. I go back to my 2D pattern window and I'm like just show like this is my current style. For exporting, I select everything in the 2D pattern window which I want to export. I go to File, Export, OBJ selected. I saved this already, I'm just like saving it again and replace it. And as said, here again, you can like also export your normal maps in 8K quality. I opened this look now in Substance Painter. Maybe I'm just like show again how I'm doing this. So I go to New, I select here my object, and then normally I'm like selecting 4K quality if I don't have too many materials. And the rest of the settings I keep, just to ensure that you have like use UV tile workflow, and then like hitting OK. And now I have here my garment, and I see like whenever I select like dress, leather jacket, and then unfortunately like all the trimmings are separated from CLO, like my hardware, my zipper, but it does not matter, I'm not texturing this here because it's so tiny parts. And then also for the jacket, you see like we have all pieces here, and I can texture now my front and back side. Also quickly showing in Blender, actually I imported this look here, and I'm not a Blender pro, so bear with me. As you see, I opened the material, the UV editing, and selected like my full garment. And here you see that I'm using like this 3 tiles. I hope this is not a problem, but as said, I'm normally not working in Blender. I go back to Layout, and selecting here this material tab, and see that I have like the same kind of material slots as I have in Substance Painter. And then last but not least in Unreal Engine. In Unreal Engine, I imported my garment by opening like in the selection mode, the CLO Marvelous Designer Live Sync, and make sure that CLO is open. My settings normally are like single object, thick, unified UV coordinates. That's very important. I don't need to include the avatar, and then I can like update and then after save. And then my garment is going into whatever folder I selected for it. So this is how it's looking when you import multiple objects. I did first wrong, but then I made it right. So this one is actually the garment, and I made this already yesterday. So I had like a third material, which is opacity material, to just keep the dress together. I would not need it now, but I'm having it here inside. And the difference I want to show is that we have like the material slots here. So we have the dress, showing it here. We have the dress. This was like material pieces I would hide. Here's the leather jacket. But then the difference between like Substance Painter and Blender is that we have just one material slot here for the trimmings, and that's because we placed all trimmings in one UV tile. So keep in mind that all of them need to be then textured in the same way. And if you texture, for example, this in Substance Painter and have like here all these different material types, you would need to merge later your textures to import them to Unreal Engine. And that's why I'm saying I would not texture this here. I would just use probably a metal material and like drag and drop it to this slot where I have like my small parts and trimmings.
And that's it. This is how I set up my UV layout, how I'm exporting them. It's exactly something you can follow step by step as I'm doing, and I think just keep this kind of stuff out of your head. If this video was helpful, or you have any questions or comments regarding this topic or suggestions for other topics, just write them in the comment section. I'm really happy to answer all of them. And also hit the subscribe button to not miss my next videos. Bye!